Aloha and welcome to Live at the Legislature, where each week during the legislative session, we give you a chance to hear directly from state senators about what's going on here at the state capitol. This year, the Senate gained 3 majority freshmen, each of whom has made a strong impression on their colleagues. This week, we meet freshman Senator Drew Mamo-Kanuha, who represents the 3rd District, which includes Kona and Ka'u on the Big Island. Aloha, Senator.
Aloha, Richard. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for being here.
Absolutely.
You came to the Senate from the Hawaii County Council.
Yes.
What did you do before you got into politics?
Before I went into politics, I was working for Kamehameha Schools, the Land Assets Division in Keauhou on Hawaii Island. And it was a good learning experience to work with the community. We took care of their agricultural plan that they were trying to reach out to the community, and they have a ton of leases, so it was a good opportunity for me to talk story and be within the community of how Kamehameha Schools deals with, there are thousands of leases, especially on Hawaii Island. So it was a really unique experience to get out into the community. And before that, I went to the University of San Diego. Prior to that, public school, Kealakehe, Kahakai Elementary School. I'm a 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th generation Kama'aina from Kailua Kona. My family's been there for a long time. We are one of the founders of Kaiopua Canoe Club. I think you've heard about them throughout the state. And they're formed, in Kailua Kona. So I've grown up doing a lot of community service, working with the community, and that's how I kind of had the interest in running for office. One day, I didn't think it was going to be so soon, but I always had the interest in extending and doing as much for the community as I possibly could.
And your family had a foundation?
Yes, we formed the Betty Kanua Foundation after my grandmother. She was always instilling in us as children better ways to or improve our ways of reading, of literacy. And so we took that into forming this foundation and providing funds for schools, elementary schools. We bought a ton of books for schools like Ho'onaunau Elementary, Ho'okena. We upgraded their computer systems and gave scholarships to kids that wanted to get out of the community. We always wanted them to eventually come back into the community, so we would hold events all the time during the summertime, and they would come and volunteer and help us do a lot of community projects. So that was the nexus for forming the foundation, and I'm glad to continue it now.
Mm-hmm. You are now the youngest member of the Senate, having claimed that distinction from Senator Stanley Chang. Getting into politics at that early age, it doesn't seem that common among your peers. What convinced you to get into it so early?
Well, like I said earlier, I've always wanted to do something with the community, do more with the community, and like I said, I didn't think it was going to be so soon that I would get into politics or run for the county council. But somehow, sometimes the moon and the stars and everything kind of align in the right direction, and that's kind of how it turned out. And I said, you know what? I spoke to my family. I had a lot of friends encouraging me to do so, and I threw my name inside and hoped for the best. I worked hard campaigning, and I won my first council seat when I was 28. I wasn't the youngest at the time on the council. There was a younger individual, Gregory Ilagan from Puna, who was 26. He might have been the youngest council member ever elected on Hawaii County Council. And so we built a good relationship, and now 6 years later, decided to run for the state Senate, and here I am now.
And you also became council chair by the time you were 30.
Yes, so I was council chair when I was 30 years old. I got the support of my colleagues on Hawaii Island, and I thought we did pretty well. We worked with the mayor, at the time was Billy Kinoi, and got a lot of projects for the entire community, and I'm proud to have been part of that legacy of getting things done for the community. So yeah, it was an interesting time to be council chair, being so young and trying to, make sure everybody's okay. But I thought I did pretty well for the entire island.
What is it like moving from the county level and those issues to moving to the Senate?
Oh, it's night and day. We would always go to conferences on the mainland and working with other counties and supervisors and most of the mainland counties, they take care of healthcare, the judiciary, the schools. Over here, the state takes care of that. The counties don't take care of that. So now, you know, transitioning to the state, seeing everything that the state has to take care of, it's going into a whole different level of understanding and the work that you have to do. And looking at, you know, Ka'u is going to be completely different. The needs of Ka'u is going to be completely different from the needs of Lihui on Kauai. You know, but trying to figure out a way to evenly spread out the resources among the entire state, it's definitely challenging.
When you look at the issues you consider at the county level, are there any that you'd like to bring with you and continue pursuing at the state level?
Yeah, so one of the many issues that we're trying to transition from the county to the state, and I know there's been a ton of efforts already underway from this legislature as well as administration, is the homeless effort. We've had to me, I felt an increase in the amount of homeless individuals in my district, in Kona. And coming to Honolulu, you can definitely see that there's a huge issue here. On the council, we built basically tiny homes, micro-housing units in Kailua to help with the homeless issue, but it's not nearly enough. And so transitioning to the state, you know, I really wanted to work with, you know, the counties, the state, the federal, and even private. We can all work together to figure out the best solutions to move forward with the homeless issue.
Now, what about if we look at the long term? Given your age, you could be in politics for the next 30 or 40 or even longer years. Are there any issues that you'd like to see we make an effort into way into the future?
Oh, definitely. That's why I love this legislature and the previous legislature looking at climate change. You know, that's something that we're really going to have to pay close attention to. Working on the council, we did a lot with the general plan we're looking at, you know, the long-term plans, and we wanted to make sure that climate change was part of the general plan, you know, of how we're going to subdivide different areas, how we're going to develop certain areas. And I think this legislature is really taking a close look at how we look at climate change and how it's going to affect the entire state. You know, another big thing that I think we really need to push the button on is how we keep people here, how people can live here in the communities that they were born and raised. Affordable housing, you know, you say affordable housing, you can't say affordable housing. It's so hard to even afford a home. For my generation, a lot of my generation is leaving to the mainland and nobody's coming back. So that's why being on the housing committee with Stanley Chang as chair for the Senate, we're really trying to find unique ways, and sometimes you got to change the dynamic. You know, if something hasn't been working in the past, let's figure out some different unique ways of having or pushing the button to see if it'll work in the future. And I think Chair Chang is really taking the lead on the Senate side of doing exactly that. I'm pretty excited to see if we can get some of these initiatives out.
This, as you mentioned, this is a challenging time for your generation in terms of housing and economic opportunity. Is there something that you would say as a young community leader to your generation to give them a little more hope, a little more inspiration?
Yeah, you know, I do talks all the time at elementary schools, intermediate schools. You know, I was born and raised just like them, paper bag, running to school. My parents never caught a ride, or I didn't catch a ride with my parents to school. I had to walk to school every single day. So, you know, I say, you know, coming from that community, we all face our challenges. I was always taught to work hard, put your head down, grind, and hopefully something good will come out of it. I think it's going to be a challenge in my generation, making enough money to be able to live in the communities that you want to be, that you were born and raised. It's definitely going to be a challenge, but I think that anybody can do it. If you just keep on working hard, I think good things happen.
Well, finally, you and Senator Kaikahele and Jarrett Kehokalole have kind of formed a core in the Hawaiian caucus. I mean, the three of you are it's a striking picture, the three of you together. Are there changes or developments for the Hawaiian community that you'd like to see going forward?
I think there are. I think this is a really good opportunity for us to work together. You know, my whole thing of running for office was the ability to build relationships, work together. Not everybody's going to have right or wrong. I think we can find that middle ground in moving forward. And I think, you know, Jared or Senator Keo Kalole and Senator Kahele, everybody has unique ideas of how to move the Lahui forward. And I think we're in a position that we can bring a lot of people together on opposite sides and find that middle ground. There's always going to be that middle ground that we can find to move forward with. And I really think that working with these two senators, we can really do that. And there's others that are part of the Hawaiian Caucus. I'm really glad we formed the Hawaiian Caucus, and Senator Keo Kalole being the chair of that caucus, or our leader of that caucus. There's other members present that are part of that caucus too, but it's the ability to work together. I think that's what we can pull together.
Okay, in our last 30 seconds, number one issue that you want to see make it through this session?
Ooh, my number one personal, I think Kua Bay lifeguards are a desperate need in Kona. Representative Nicole Loyan and Senator Ino, I've been working for this for a long time, but too many people have died in that area, and I think it's incumbent upon us to really get that done.
Okay, all politics is local. Thank you very much for being here with us today. Thank you for joining us, and thank you to Olelo for making this time available. We'll see you next time live at the legislature.